My name is Justin Swan. I'm the lead designer here at RedLynx working on Trials Frontier. And obviously I come from the United States. I started in the industry while working at Microsoft for Xbox Live. And that's when I first actually started working on Trials. I was part of the team that shipped the original Trials HD. And then a few years later, when Antti got in touch with me and said that you guys wanted to take Trials to mobile, I thought it would be a perfect opportunity. And so here I am.
I'm Antti Ilvessuo and I work on creative direction on RedLynx. I'm a co-founder of RedLynx and RedLynx has been around like 12 years.
We know that people have been asking for Trials on mobile for a long time, and it really just came down to finding the right time to do it and having the resources. In the past, as we've been working on Trials games, it's taken almost the entire studio to pull one of those titles off. And we've been able to ship some other smaller titles on mobile, Motor Heroes maybe being the most well-known. And it wasn't until now that we really were able to marshal enough resources to put out a game we thought would really represent the Trials franchise.
It's a matter of always like finding the right solution and testing and maybe waiting for the right time. And for example, we have been doing 1000 Heroes and then we have been doing Motor Heroes, and all of those games were like lessons and learning stuff. So I think now we have learned enough to make a right Trials game for mobile, finally.
Whenever I joined the project, we actually already had the game running on a phone. And that was the core Trials gameplay, and it looked very much like the style of Trials HD, for example. And when I was asked to come help design what Trials Frontier would be, the real question was, okay, we have Trials running on a phone, now how do we bring it to mobile? And part of that question was also making it free to play. We saw the market going that direction, and that was another one of those goals. You look at mobile games that are succeeding right now, they're definitely targeted toward a much more casual audience, especially when you compare it to our Trials games. And so we already knew that we were going to be pushing the limit as far as how casual can a successful mobile game be. Trials inherently, because of its physics-based gameplay and the difficult tracks, is going to have some level of difficulty. So I would say we definitely live in the upper tier of between casual and hardcore as far as mobile games go. The controls for Trials Frontier always, well, at the beginning I should say, were a bit of a question, because as we were looking at the market, we saw a lot of these games out there that were the physics-based 2D racers, and they were really succeeding well with the tilt-based mechanic. And of course this is something we thought about, but the thing that really differentiates Trials from so many other games has always been the amazing control. And as we started experimenting with tilt controls and some other things as well, we realized that it just wasn't accurate enough for us. There was this lack of response time and things like that with the tilt. So we went with the buttons.
We were testing lots of different mechanisms how to make the controls work, but we always ended up in a kind of how it is now. So you kind of lean and brake and gas, and then you have virtual buttons. But I think in some games where you have tested that kind of stuff, they have not tuned it right. Maybe the response feels like a bit unintuitive and the speed is a little lower. And I think we have now nailed it in a way that whenever you give the game to a new player and then test it out, they are immediately like, hey, this feels right, I feel I'm in control, everything works. So I think it's a matter of tuning things to work.
Now that we're back to using binary buttons, basically on-off as opposed to the triggers and the sticks on Trials for console, we've kind of just gone back to our roots, because the original Trials were on PC, you used your keyboard, and we've just kind of gone back to that. And everyone's really happy with how the controls have turned out, and the reviews and what people have had to say have all been extremely positive on the controls. Having such a strong storyline in Trials Frontier was another one of those interesting decisions that we had to make. Previously I talked about what were some of the hardest decisions when bringing Trials to mobile, and I mentioned how much in the casual direction we wanted to go. We needed to make a game that wasn't just about mastery. It wasn't just about perfecting the driving line on a course and beating your friends on the leaderboards.
In Trials Frontier we have first time introduced the characters. So those characters are actually really good, because they give you a reason to ride. So for example, if I'm sitting on the bus and then thinking what to do, maybe you choose the Trials Frontier because you remember that, hey, there was this dude who said last time you were playing that, hey, do these things in this track under this timeline and I give you a reward.
And so when we started thinking about what else can we do with the Trials formula, it became different missions and quests, and being able to feel good about yourself if you're not the kind of player who's going to perfect his actual physical ability to play this game, but be able to feel good because you're progressing in the storyline, you're helping these characters, you're completing missions and leveling up your bike and rider. And so that's where the whole story kind of evolved from. The goal when we built Trials Frontier was to make a Trials game that the Trials player of old would love as well. I'm building this game because I love Trials and I want to play Trials on my phone. And so while we've definitely done a lot of things to bring a larger and more casual audience, there is without question plenty of there for the hardcore Trials player that wants to have Trials in their pocket.